Hello and welcome to Book Lounge by Libby. My name is Joe, and I'm so happy you're here. If you're new here, welcome. This is the show where we dive into all corners of the bookish world. Consider checking out our existing podcast content and subscribing so you never miss an episode. For our return friends, welcome back. I am so glad to see you. We're in our in-between season break right now, so this is where you'll see 1 to 3 episodes per month until we go back to weekly at the end of September. All right, housekeeping aside, check the description for books mentioned today where you can email me, all that good stuff. Joining me today is an amazing creator. She is a 10-year bookseller, a book club maven, and a collector, and she's a romance novel matchmaker. But here to talk about that and so much more is Destinee. Welcome back to Book Lounge. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to hang out with you, Joe.
Oh, I'm so excited to just get to hang with you after we finished recording. If you missed Destinee, she was in our last episode of season 3, giving romance recs for your summer reading list. Go check that out after you finish this episode. We hung up and we're like, so we need to do this again, but just to be chatty, right?
Exactly. Close pace, just to chat.
As soon as possible.
I am like, I was truly buzzing. Like, what? How are we
Right?
not this?
Exact. Well, we are now,
We
so
are.
don't even worry about it. But how are you? What's new? What's going on?
Great. Just so many cool bookish things happening, Black Romance Book Fest. I went to Imaginarium, going to City Fling. So yeah, just so many cool bookish things. After the end tour with Ali Hazelwood and Adriana Herrera,
My
so many cool
gosh.
things.
So too many cool things. When will you get to rest?
Right after that, I
Okay, okay.
will sleep, I think, for a very long time.
You'll know peace eventually.
Yes, yes. Right now I'm just, mainlining Celsius's, just like,
Absolutely. Celsius and the Panera lemonade that can kill you.
oh
Uh,
my gosh, yes.
I was there when you could serve it yourself. Uh,
Oh my gosh, me too. Ugh.
I was a proud Sip Club member. Uh,
Are we the olds?
I
Just
I
kidding.
think we're the olds.
Uh,
I've officially hit the age where I have like the age I am until I'm like the next stage I'm going to be, so I can no longer remember how old I actually am.
I will have to admit that has recently happened to me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
See, to me, I picked that like I was going to be 32 until I was about 50
Okay.
because I went bald young. I went bald like I think I finally gave up the fight at like 23.
Okay.
Started graying at 17, like, so I was like, this is how the universe is going to pay me back. I'm going to look vaguely mid 30s until I'm 50. Like that's what I deserve. That's what I get.
Honestly,
I'm demanding my comepanness.
I like you're nailing it right now.
Thank
Truly.
you. Thank you.
Truly. Also
No
with the
filters,
colors.
kids.
No, I'm like, I really like this a lot. I like
Thank you.
32. Let's go with that.
I am allegedly 32. I think
Okay.
I'm legally almost 34. So,
Okay. Okay.
but
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
uh-huh,
I'll say
uh-huh.
that.
Well, I think that's how old I turned this year. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm sure I've given enough personal details about myself over the course of this podcast that someone probably knows,
More
you
accurately
know,
than I do, for
my
sure.
whole star chart at this point. But yes, I
What
am.
what is your sign, Joe?
Oh, I'm a Scorpio. I,
Ooh,
yeah,
don't
my
get on Joe's bedside.
11/11. So I have like a good birthday. I'm
Ooh,
a
okay.
Scorpio, Gemini, Virgo. Mhm,
Ooh,
mhm.
interesting.
Oh, yes.
Pisces, Scorpio, Libra.
Ooh,
I know, what a weird
okay.
combo.
Yeah. Ooh, I always say, like, my big 3 has no fire, I'm all the other elements, and that's why my boyfriend's an
Mm.
Aries.
Uh, oh, Aries.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
needed the fire somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're gonna bring the fire for real.
And, fortunately, the chaos he brings is my brand of chaos, so it's somehow water sign chaos, so it's fine.
It all works out.
I think I have more of the Aries energy in in
Interesting. Okay.
life.
Okay. Okay.
Ugh.
I feel like, because I'm kind of cuspy, I can kind of skew that way too, depending.
He is also cusp. So whatever March, I think he's the last day of Aries season.
Oh,
Or
okay,
the
got it.
first? I don't fake astrology over here. I'm a
Oh,
fake astrologist.
listen, you know yours. That's all anybody could ask of you.
Exactly, exactly.
Really.
I have
Yeah.
CoStar downloaded to remind me what my chart is. If I forget, do I
And
use it
vaguely know
otherwise?
your age. You're doing fine.
I vaguely know my age, couldn't tell you my blood type, but I know what medications I'm allergic to. So, y you know,
Adulting, literally locked in. You're locked
I
in.
mean, these are our basic necessities.
Yeah.
Um, what are you reading right now?
At this very moment, I am listening to Land by Maggie O'Farrell, and that recommendation came from the book buyer at East City Bookshop. Her name is Emily Summer. She's amazing. And I saw her at the bookstore the other day and I was like, "So what are you reading?" And she was like, "I just finished Land and I was weeping and it's the best book I read this year." And I was like, "Whoa,
Whoa.
okay." I said better than Hamnet.
Yeah.
That's her most recent book. Outside of that, and she was like, "Better than Hamnet." I was like, "Oh, okay, you're
Whoa.
making claims here."
She is making claims. So, wow, how are you feeling about it so far? Or are you
I
early on?
I am just about halfway through.
Okay.
And I am seeing what she's saying because it's so, like, sweeping in scope, but also you get to very intimately know certain people. And I think based on the description, okay, land, like, do I care about this? But all of the things that it interrogates, like who owns land, who gets to name it, who gets to decide how it's recorded, all of these things that she's interrogating are so interesting and just the prose is beautiful. So yeah, I'm
Oh,
not all the way through, but I could see it. I could see it for her. Yeah.
okay. You know what? I like that. And what were your feelings when Hamnet was her favorite of the year so far?
Her favorite?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was her favorite,
Okay, okay.
but yes, but I do know that it was a favorite.
Got it.
And
Okay.
especially with the
With
movie
the movie,
coming
yeah.
out, all of those things, um,
Like
uh
zeitgeisty made sense.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. I think sometimes as a bookseller, I'm like, if it's getting so much hype, I don't need to read it.
Thank you. Thank you. Because I try to do the same thing when I pick lists here. Like, you don't need me to tell you what Reese is telling you to read. You don't need me to tell you what Jenna's telling you to read. Uh, like Oprah, love you, girl. I'm eating bread with you, but like, you don't need me to tell you what Oprah's reading either. I'm gonna try to get weird with it. And yes, of course, I'm a person. I want to read some of the hot stuff too. So you're going to hear it occasionally,
Yeah,
but I'm with very much with you on that.
yeah, it's the water cooler, like, I
Right.
totally get that, I totally get that, but there's so many great books out there. I'm just like, I have to give something else a try, which was kind of another reason I was like, "Maggie doesn't need my help." But sometimes it's about the experience you have as a reader and it being a
Yes.
wonderful one. So, what are
Ugh.
you reading?
After our conversation, I decided I needed to reread the Goliaths of Wrestling series.
Ooh, how was
It's
that?
so good. I
Okay.
stand by my recommendation. If you want some weird gay monster wrestlers having just so much sex, uh, there you go. Sign you
10
up.
toes down, 10
I've
toes down.
exactly. I've got about like an hour left on the last book. So I'm down for that. And I'm also it's summertime for me. So I am reading graphic novels and manga left and right. Like that is when I am just devouring. And it had been a few years since I had read Case Closed. It
Ah,
yeah,
yeah. Mhm.
love Case Closed. But I realized I hadn't picked it up. So volume 99 is
Okay.
releasing this July, depending on what this will come out in July, but so who knows if it's out yet in timing with this. But volume 99 is coming out this July. And when I was getting my July book picks ready, I saw that. I was just like, oh, I don't think I've read this series specifically since like volume 48. So I went back and was like, well, it's time. And I have just been enjoying it so much because there's something about the way Japan does like British mystery because it's all
Ooh.
so heavily influenced by the Agatha Christie's and the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's. Like it's a lot of that energy, but also with their sensibility toward how they do thriller, which I love Japanese thriller, like Japanese thriller,
Mhm.
Japanese horror. And so like all of that together, oof. So that's been fun.
Oh, I
I know.
love that. I really do.
Yeah.
I will definitely at some point need some manga recs.
Oh, well, you know where to find me.
Because I've definitely one-offed things, but I don't feel
Okay.
like that's the way you should probably experience manga, like
It depends.
okay,
I think so well I have more questions that we'll get to on the manga front. But with like Case Closed, perfect example of you could probably just read one volume if you wanted a taste of it. Like you won't necessarily know the character backstory because there's like the overarching theme for the series,
mhm.
but basically, it's pretty episodic. It is very Murder She Wrote coded that like one book has one whole story in it, but there's also the end from the volume before and the start of the next volume. So every
Oh,
book is like effectively two mystery stories in one. So you could totally just like oh, I'm going to get 44, 45, and 46. And you'll have like three stories, essentially, like three
mm.
complete stories. But you could totally pick up one, see if you like the energy, and go from there. But what have you one offed? What are some of the things you have just on like a volume of here and there?
This is horrible because I just don't remember. I really
No,
don't.
totally.
They were, so I used to work at a school,
Okay.
um, and so the librarian would bring in,
Yeah.
obviously, manga that the kids were into, and
Oh,
if
so
you
we're talking
like
like Demon Slayer, Hunter x Hunter, Jujutsu Kaisen. Okay.
yeah, oh, yeah, that for sure. Okay, yes. Now that you say that, I'm like, "Okay, I
Yeah.
remember these things."
Yeah.
But I could sooner
Those you
identify
definitely can't do one-offs. When it is, because the oh gosh, let's see what knowledge I can pull out. Shonen, that's the very like hero story. Main character has grand quest. You at the very least tend to have to do like a whole arc. Like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is broken up into general arcs, things like that. So,
I think that sounds familiar. Yep.
oh yeah,
So I just got little snippets and I'm
little
I'm
snippets.
like,
Yeah.
what are the kids reading, kind of way?
And you could totally do that from like the anthropologist point of view of like, I need
Ah,
to know what's going on. But if
okay.
you want it from the storytelling, most of the like popular ones, especially in that style, like One Piece, you could never just pick up One Piece. You gotta,
Got it.
and
So I
that's
have
like
work to do is what I'm
yeah.
hearing.
Oh
I've got
yeah.
work to do.
What do you like? What are some of the like tropey things that they don't even have to be tropes, but like what interests you? Like are we leaning toward magical girl where, troop of individuals kind of save the world but cutesy? Are we looking for action adventure? Like,
Definitely action adventure, very
okay.
questy. I'm very questy. I
Okay.
love a quest. If there
Ooh.
like, you almost
Mm.
always have me at quest.
Okay.
So that is very
Okay.
much my vibe.
Mm. You're also in such a good spot where there are so many things that are starting right now
Ooh,
or have started in the last handful of years, at least like the English translation, that you could pick up a lot of stuff. Like Chainsaw Man, that's kind of fun. Um, it, it's like an intersection between adventure-ish. It doesn't have the quest that you're looking for, but it's somewhere between like slice of life if you died to save your pet and became a demon hunter. Not a
okay.
spoiler because that's like the first 20 pages. but but then more of the like sweeping quests, there's so many options. I mean, like if you want a classic, like Shaman King is a good time.
Okay.
I think anyone would say One Piece if you like pirates. Like
Ooh, who
mystical
doesn't
pirate.
like
Yeah, it's like mystical pirates. They eat I think they call it the devil's fruit. and anyone who eats it gets a specific like random power from it. But
Interesting.
then I think the flip side is you can no longer swim. Like you just drown in water
Wait
immediately,
a minute.
which like
No,
dangerous for pirates.
I mean, and for Pisces, come
Yeah,
on.
exactly. So I mean, like, there's lots of options out there. But you could go like the like Kaiju number 8 is a recently started here, and that's kind of that like mecha team kaiju fighter. So yeah, I mean,
You are a legit pro. There are few things I love more than somebody who is so versed in something talk about
oh,
it, because the passion and knowledge there is just, I'm gonna need Joe's curated Rex for Martha.
and you can have them. I will
Yeah,
I will I will craft an email to you that outlines with links some places you could start.
I'm
Um
ready.
I mean, I wish I knew as much as it sounded like. There's just I also like to know what the kids like, and I was a cosplayer at a very brief point in my life, so it was nice to understand what was walking around.
Yeah, yeah, okay, that makes so much
But
sense.
but do I know much or everything? No, because I am very much a like magical girl fan. Like,
Sure.
I'm out here fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight. But I'm
Is that your tagline now?
yeah, I'm sure Sailor Moon will let me take that.
Yes,
I wish.
absolutely.
Yeah, right. Like, I'll call my lawyers and be like, "Hey, can we get
I
this?"
know, I know. 'Cause, yeah, Sailor Moon,
You know how fast I would be jumping on that. I feel like, yeah, you could have it. Merch
Yeah,
today.
or like right
Um,
now,
but I
emblazoned on the shirt.
but I also love slice of life, which is
Ooh.
so
In manga?
in manga,
Okay.
yes, which is so weird. It's so the like I'm just watching people as they go about their lives and like doing
Mm.
their things, and I'm not a big reality TV person, but it feels like when I read a slice of life manga, that's when I go like, is this what people enjoy about reality TV? Like, yeah, I don't
Mm.
know. There's something
Mm.
about it that it's like it is very character driven, and when you fall into a group of characters you love, you're like, oh, oh, I do care if finish your manga in the story and get your degree and do what you want to do and become successful. And so
How is that different in manga for you versus, or is it different versus like a short story collection?
not interested in a novel. Not interested. Like
Ooh,
when
interesting.
yeah, it's the strangest thing because it does not translate out of manga
Okay.
for me. Like, I love
Oh,
a short story collection if it is in one of my genres. So I love a horror anthology. I love like a creepy Halloween collection. Like,
okay.
I'm in for it, but I'm much more likely to pick up like the spooky stories, the murder mystery,
Mhm.
and occasionally, like, I also love a sci-fi collection because I'm not great at committing to like a full fantasy or a full sci-fi, which is why I'm loving this cozy renaissance for both of those genres because it gives me
Mm.
just enough of what I want,
Bite
but
size.
I like finish a full book rather than, just short stories. Um, but yeah, so it does not translate for me. I could care less. It's not true. That's so mean. They're not for
Slice
me.
of life only in manga.
Only in
Whoa.
manga. I do love them for others, but yeah, no, not for my reading
Mm.
style. I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad you had a good time at the Ren Fair. Happy you had fun with your friends. You know, so
That is fascinating. I'm gonna be thinking about that juxtaposition for a while. Anytime I'm hearing people speak about stuff like that, I think of it from a bookseller perspective, like
yeah.
developing a reader profile, and I'm like,
Oh,
that's fascinating.
now I'm like, Destiny, ask me your questions. I want to hear what my profile is. Destiny,
You know,
profile me, please.
I'll probably ask more questions, but I mean, oftentimes when people come in the store, it's sort of like, I just want, a recommendation about XYZ. It's, pretty narrowly. I think we kind of talked about this a little bit, alluded to it last time of I love when someone comes in and they're kind of open.
Yes.
But I will say the question I most often ask is, what have you read recently and loved? You
Ooh.
know? That's or even
Yeah.
if not recently, what have you read and loved? And, just plug in a little thing here.
That's a
And
great
that's usually a good
question.
springboard.
Oof. As I'm like looking at my list off to the side. No, that's such a good question. That's a great place to jump from because I also feel like what is my like wish I was reading versus what
Mm,
distracts me from what I wish I was reading?
mm.
Because
Mhm, mhm.
I, much like you were talking about, of like just loving people being impassioned about things, I love getting recommendations from people like you who care about what they read and care about giving me a recommendation I would enjoy. Like there are plenty of people who are throwing it out there, but when it's the like, from the interaction we've had, I think you'd enjoy this book, even if it's not in any of my genres or any of my typical wheelhouses. If someone I trust goes, I think you'd like this, it's probably the next thing I'm going to read. I mean,
Mm.
it's as simple
Yeah.
as that. Like, a book that I think about a lot that I've talked about here a lot is One's Company. It is bonkers. And my friend of the show, Amy Allen Clark from the Book Gang podcast, she recommended it to me and she like hard sold it to me on I think 3 different occasions before I finally read it. And once I read it, I couldn't get over it. And I couldn't stop
Mm.
thinking about it. And then I dragged Amy onto the show and we got a hold of the author and we had a
Oh my
conversation
gosh.
with her about the book because it is just, it's bananas. Like, for your quick summary, woman has terrible thing happen to her in her life, which like murder and assault, and then wins the lottery. She is obsessed with the show Three's Company and decides to move off grid in her own perfect
Oh.
recreation of the full world of Three's Company. And
Oh, that's
lives
fascinating.
she lives every day as a different so she'll live through the whole series as one character, and then once she's done with that character's series, she'll be the next person. So she's Jack, she's Chrissy, and
Oh.
like
Oh.
she'll get to the side like so yeah, and the detail
Is this like
is
a bluish, greenish cover? I'm
yes,
thinking it
yep.
okay.
There's like a bird cage in the center, it's blue
Yeah,
and
it's like
green.
a
Yeah.
black okay.
Yep.
That is a weird question to ask, but
No,
I'm, like,
you are
trying to
speaking to the right person because I could pull out oils and paint you a book cover before I could remember the name of a book.
oh my god. Lifelong struggle, and as the bookseller,
Yes.
come on, it's like, what are we doing?
Oh,
It's like that comes
absolutely.
back to me first, and now I'm like, was it
Yes.
Ashley somebody?
Yes, Ashley. Oh no.
Okay.
She's delightful. It is Ashley, but now why can't I think of it? Ashley Hudson. Yeah,
Hudson. Okay, yeah, I'm
Hudson.
like,
Yeah.
I've seen this book. I've seen
Oh
this
yeah.
book. Yeah.
And it's a great book. I mean, it is a great book, and it is what I would classify as a weird book. And
Okay.
I am a lover of weird books. That is the fastest way to get me to read something is saying it's a little weird, like When the Wolf Comes Home, Sky Daddy, One's Company. Like these are all
Hi, Daddy. What a weird book.
Ooh.
Oh,
But like some of my like those are all some of my recent favorites. And you can take any genre, make it a little weird, and I'm like, okay, I'm here. Uh, Same with like Victorian Psycho and Hungerstone, like just the same thing of like they've all got bits of different trends and subgenres and whatnot, but just a little weird, and I'm there.
would you that call that your catnip, like, a little weird? Like, for
I
me,
think so.
I would say I love when a book plays with perspective in any
Oh,
way.
yep.
That is a huge thing
Hmm.
for me. If you tell me it's
Yeah.
multi-perspective, if you tell
Hmm.
me, there's an unreliable narrator or, whatever, if we're playing with how we as the reader are viewing the story, catnip for me. So I'm hearing that yours is
Absolutely.
weird.
Weird is one for me, and when they play with form, so the fonts change, the spacing changes, like all in, or they have like
100% agree.
fully designed like a web page that's in the middle of a
Yes.
printed page. Like those are my 2 major catnips, especially as like a mainly audiobook reader. Hearing how they translate that, like that's also catnip to me.
That's such an interesting point that you would still want those playing with form, even if you're listening to it, because I
And
hear the
they do it.
opposite. Yeah.
They do it now more than ever. I mean, like, oh, it's a podcast in the
Yes.
show, so all of a sudden they play with the finishing, how the mic quality sounds, so it sounds more
Yes.
like a podcast versus the narration. Like,
Sadie by Courtney Summers, for example.
absolutely, Sadie.
Yeah.
We talked about it before we started recording. One of us is lying. Another great example of that, where the audiobook experience is a totally different experience than the book experience. Um, Horror Store, Grady Hendrix, like, you know, for those of for those of you who haven't heard this fun fact before, Grady set the horror store in Ohio, and he picked a random location, and that location just so happens to be Overdrive's headquarters.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Any press is good press.
Uh-huh. Oh, he had no clue. It was one of us who told him along the way one day, and he was like,
Oh,
"How about that?" And then he told me the story when he was on the show. He's like, "Hey, did you know?"
oh my
I,
gosh! I'm like wringing my hands. Like I cannot
incredible.
imagine what it was like finding out that information. Like that's actually Overdrive's headquarters. Is it a horror story to you, Grady?
Right. But I mean, and like where he placed it makes totally sense. I think when he was writing it, we weren't there yet, and it was the perfect space for like big building to be dropped.
Honestly, I'm gonna be laughing about this for
Right.
the rest of the day.
But yeah,
Uh,
I totally hear your point though, of like a lot of people give pushback when audiobooks get a little funky, get a little
yes,
weird.
yes.
I think there's also a difference between like graphic audio, like their adaptations where they're doing full
Mhm.
cast recordings with sound effects. And, like, I think a lot of times you're searching that experience. I don't think anyone's being surprised by that experience. So I don't count them in that. Like, they do brilliant work. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like the Honeys audiobook from Ryan
Mhm,
LaSala.
mhm, mhm.
Occasionally you'll just get some bees buzzing in your headphones, which
Yes.
what a trip when you're cutting the grass and
Yeah,
listening to
yeah.
the Honeys and you're like, oh no.
Whoa, what's
um,
going on? Yeah.
But I love that because Scholastic seems to do that a lot with in their detailed work to like just include little moments like that. And I'm a sucker for it. I mean, like, I've been listening to audiobooks since I was a kid. And, now I'm only 32.
Always
But
32. And I mean, I definitely agree about that too
yeah.
with the little touches that
Mhm.
just make it feel different to be listening. But I
Yes.
think probably sometimes people's issue is if you're using audiobooks, which please use them however you want to, but sort of as like your ironing thing and you're not like dialed in, it could be frustrating if something happens and you don't realize
Yeah.
or you have to like rewind or whatever. And I think that's the thing, like, being immersed in it. For me, I don't
Yeah.
mind rewinding. That's the thing. If I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what did I just hear? We're going back.
Right. I
No
have no
problem.
problem. I'll go back 15 seconds, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem at all. So,
Yeah.
yeah, for me, I truly love audiobooks.
Same.
You know, take walks with them. Anywhere I'm going, I have an audiobook that I am listening to. And I
You better
especially love when
believe it.
poets read their audio or read
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
So, the audio of The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo is hands down one of my favorite audiobooks ever, ever.
Incredible. What
Yeah.
so yes, again, we're in July, dear listeners, and watchers. Hi, hope you like this shirt. If you're watching, if you want to watch, you can go to either Spotify or the Libby App YouTube channel. Consider trying it out.
Yeah,
Um, I have to do that. That's what they make us do in the podcast world, right?
I love it. I love it. Shout it
Build in
out.
the CTAs. Um, it may be July, but audiobook month just ended. And for so many of us, audiobook month is every month. Do you have any favorite recent audiobooks? I know you just mentioned The Poet X. Do you have any favorite audiobooks or narrators that are like auto listens for you? You go, I'm listening to anything this person records.
If Bonnie Turpin records it,
Amen.
done. That for
Hmm.
me is 100%
Done.
happening. For me, she's someone who, when she's doing, portraying different characters, the definition between those characters is so there and so real without ever
Masterful.
being gimmicky to me.
Hmm.
And it's a
Which
wide
is which is hard. It is
so
hard
hard,
to do that, like you said, without being
so hard,
gimmicky. Yeah.
so hard. Especially if, yeah, sometimes if a male narrator is doing a
Mhm.
female your face, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Hi, my name is," and it's like, "No, that's
No, 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 no.
no, no."
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually I embrace cringe, but that for me is like, "Oh, I don't like it. I don't."
Oh. Oh, same. I live, laugh, love cringe, but
Same, same,
but
same. My
but
millennial
there
heart
are
is like, "Let's go."
especially, like, again, as longtime audiobook listeners, we remember the days where not every book got an audiobook. I'm
Correct.
so glad we're not in that world anymore.
It was a wild world.
It was
People now can't
tough
imagine that world.
times. They cannot imagine that
They
world, but,
can't.
like, and we say that from a place of we did not need them for accessibility as us, the listeners. So there were just whole things that were, in a lot of instances, inaccessible. So soapbox moment there. But, just think about that, y'all. Sometimes what's helpful for some benefits us all. Uh, so sorry, sometimes I gotta just like, "Hey, remember
Another
there's a point here."
CTA
Yeah, another
reminder.
exactly, thank you.
Yes.
But now we are in such, like, a heyday of amazingly talented voice actors creating audiobooks for us, and so there are times where I'm like, there's enough, like, opposite whatever dialogue in this that why don't we
Yes.
just have 2 narrators? Because
I
I
know.
love that now. I'm such a sucker for, like, "Oh, do we have dual POV, so I'm getting 2 narrators?" You better believe it.
That adds
But
to the
yeah,
story. I'm like,
it
"Oh,
does.
immediately. Oh, we're in a different perspective. I got it."
Exa it's the easiest switch because, I'm listening at 2.25 speed.
Ooh, let's talk about speed.
Yeah,
Let's talk
please.
about speed. So you're a
Yes.
2.25er?
Uh-huh. I am.
Okay.
I
Yeah, I
am.
too am in the 2 to 2.5 range depending on it. But this is how you
Yes.
know the real, I'm not throwing out any hate out there, but that's how you know the real audiobook listeners because whenever I say, "Oh, I'm listening to it at 2," so many of my friends are like, "That's unhinged." I'm like, "No, it's like
I
that's how
promise you it's not.
it feels normal."
Right. Do you adjust your speed often?
Most times, no.
Okay, because a year ago when we renamed the show and relaunched it, we did our first episode was for Audiobook Month. And we had a great conversation, and I talked to a whole group of people who were like, "Oh, well, I start at 1 so I can hear it how they intended it, and then
Mm,
immediately crank it up to, like, the 2.75 that I already listen at." And I was
I
floored by that.
it's because we
Because
automatically go for 2.
yeah, my setting is set.
Yes. Same,
Like, my
same,
my setting is set. That
same.
she's not going anywhere. Like
Occasionally, I might go down if I'm
yes.
surprised that this person is reading at the speed at which I feel like I'm processing in my mind.
2.25 is a recent change for me. I have been floating, like, my consistent for the past, I wanna say year, has been 2.15, and
Okay.
I bumped it up a little bit more, and I do find myself going back down to, like, 2.15. So I'm with you, like, the only thing I ever tend to do is just, like, drop it slightly to be, like you said, back at the, "Okay, I was not processing," because some narrators, they hit the gas and they're running.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, "Okay." Here's the
Now
thing
the
also though that's what I like about Libby is that you have so many options
so
in
many
terms of
options.
that because my other audiobook player that I often use is
Yeah.
libro.com,
Yeah.
and it's a little more like I think it's like on 0.25 are the options. I think that's
Yeah.
what it is. So it's not like the you can just
Right, you
gradually
can't just
oh,
slide, yeah.
that Libby function honestly is like a dopamine
Incredible.
to me. Truly.
Oh, without a doubt. I also love in our not to toot our own horn, I love the sleep timer.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
love the sleep timer,
Toot
and
it. Toot it.
my favorite function in that sleep timer is the end of chapter button because it's dynamic. That's my that's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Yes. Do you know how many times it saved me from, like, not ruining the book?
Absolutely, because then you have how do you even find where you were?
I
I
don't
slept for 8 hours. I don't remember where I was.
I woke up and then I'm hearing, like, "This has been a production of" and I'm like, "No!"
No, I'm hearing the recorded book's voice. Oh, God. It's over.
Oh, audiobooks, a horror story.
Ooh, truly. That's numbers 1 through 5 for me.
Truly, truly.
Waking up and hearing that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
no.
I mean, one time I definitely ruined a book, and I was like, "No!" And we already talked about before we started recording how I don't do spoilers.
I will jump into that in a second, but I'm not usually shady, but the only time I've had to speed up was The Boys of Tommen audiobook.
Oh, tell me more. I've not listened to that.
Well, it was also a DNF for me. So
Ooh,
sorry. But
okay. Oh, wait,
so
hold
at
on,
this
pause. Real quick question. How do we feel in general about DNFing?
oh, I'm here for it.
Okay,
I have 2 forms of DNF.
okay.
So, the first is like I need less than 5 minutes to decide if I'm DNFing a book or not. I
Mm,
don't take any more time than that.
cutthroat Joe!
5 minutes or less. But like I said, I have 2 different forms. There's the like, I'm listening and I go, this isn't for me and it'll never be for me. And I put it in a DNF tag that is just like, I do one for every year. So 2026 DNF, that's my tag in Libby. Um, and if it goes in there, it's there to die. On the
Whoa.
other side,
Okay.
it's the like, I could be 5 minutes and I go, this isn't for me right now. I'm not feeling this. I need to pick a different book. So that's when I put it back in my 2026 TBR tag. I remove the borrowed smart tag from it and I pick something else on my shelf. So
Okay.
I DNF immediately because to me, it's definitely like, it's either the vibe of what I want to hear right now or I already know that I'm not going to like it. And if it went into the like DNF tag, and someone says, "You really should I think you'd love this book." And I'd be like, "Oh, okay, what did you love about it?" Or, I like try to get a little more out of them. I'm not flat out saying like, "That sucker is dead. She's in the
You're
grave."
dead to me.
I'm just going like, "Okay, because I almost never believe someone when they say, the first half's a little slow." I go, "Yep, then it's not gonna be for me. I can tell you right now." If if you say you have to get through the first 30 chapters before it gets good, nah, I'm good.
Too many
So
books, too little time.
I'll try. If
Okay.
someone if something got the death sentence from me, I'll still like revisit it and go, "Okay,
Oh
they liked it. Maybe I have different perspective now." Because so that said, I DNF a lot of books, but not many go in death row.
oh, no!
Like
Audiobook death row.
uh-huh.
No.
So, like, endless books get reshelved for me to
Okay,
try again another day.
okay,
Not many. I mean, like, I could probably open up the like, because I started doing the year DNF, I think in 2023, and
okay,
there's probably like 1 to 3 books per year in
okay.
there.
Okay,
Not too
those
bad
stats
for
are good. Those are good stats.
yeah, for like 150 book a year average, fully DNFing to hell, like less than 10 books, not awful.
Yeah, no,
It in a 5-year period, like
we pulled it back. We pulled it back because
yes.
I was like, "Oh,
I'm still cutthroat.
yes."
I will say 5 minutes, you're out of here. And if I try it again later and I still don't like it, it still may not make it to the death tag, but you know,
I guess 5 minutes at 2
at
is really 10
2,
minutes.
exactly. And I say 5 minutes, but I also have no concept of time anymore.
Okay, okay,
So I could have
okay.
listened
Being
for an
32 and all.
hour. Right. I could have listened for an hour and it's actually 3 hours.
Okay,
Right.
okay. So
I
who
could
feels
listen
it knows it. It's a vibe.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It feels like 5 minutes. Um, but I guess that could have been an hour. But if it feels like it was the longest 5 minutes of my life and it was the longest hour of my life,
Oh my goodness.
jail.
I
Yeah.
love how you're like 5 minutes. You
Mhm.
have 5 minutes to impress me
Yeah.
or make an impression, and if not,
And
we're out.
yes, it's 5 minutes in a vibe. It's
Okay.
definitely not I don't start the timer and go, "TikTok,
I want some
enchant
follow-up
me."
data on this, honestly.
I need to start, like I need to start just, like, writing notes furiously and being like, okay, this is what's going on. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I
Whoa.
I I love to DNF because I know I will get into a rut so easily.
Okay. That's honestly so fair.
I'll be listening to a book that if it's just kind of dragging me along, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, what's up on this podcast? Who's got a new 6-hour YouTube video on their channel that I could watch? And once
Mm,
I'm doing that, that's when I know that the book's got me. I don't have it.
got it, got
Yeah.
it.
How about you?
That's
What are you
another
DNFing? Oh,
mm,
sorry.
oh, no, 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 I think they're related.
Yeah.
I agree about DNF. There's so
Yeah.
many books and so little time. So I
Right.
am team DNF.
I don't believe in the realm of like, well, I started it, I have to finish it. I used to be that
No.
way. I was that kid, and was the best gift I ever gave myself was the power
Mhm.
of DNF.
Yes. Yeah, you reclaim so much time. You reclaim so much time, and you're not having as much anxiety about things. You're just like, "You know what?
Truly.
I just don't like it right now," and that's fine, you know?
And I'll
Um,
be the loudest one at book club saying, I didn't finish it, and what? It sucked. Wasn't
listen,
for
as somebody
me.
who runs 5 book clubs, I am fine with that once you're okay with spoilers, and you are,
Mhm.
so
I am
that's
so okay
fine.
with
It's the
them.
people that come to club and are like, "I didn't finish it, but don't spoil it." I'm like, "You can't have
Then what
both.
did you show up for?
We're gonna talk about the book."
Right.
Uh-huh. But yeah, I'm team DNF. But I
Mhm.
also, I find that often I
Yeah.
will start a book, get on audiobook maybe to like 10%, let's say, and be like, kind of like what you said, like, not for me right now. And then come back in like a month and be like, oh, I'll continue it. And then be like, oh, wait, what happened? Oh, okay, okay, okay. And then keep going. So I find like that's what I often do.
Yes.
Um, when it comes to ruts, I feel like I'm like, knock on wood, but I don't
Yeah.
really get into ruts. And here is what I do.
Okay.
If I ever start feeling like, reading is feeling a little hard right now, I go back to my favorite books, and they never let me know.
Yes. Absolutely. What are
100%.
some of those?
I could re-listen to anything. I mentioned her last time. Anything in the Nalini Singh Sai Changeling series. That series is narrated by the same person, and this series has been going
Oh,
for,
what a gift.
yes, almost 2 decades.
What a
Angela
gift.
Daw. The
Oh,
voices are the same. So, like, I can pick up my favorite book in that series, and if I'm rut adjacent, what I
yeah.
imagine is a rut, I start listening to that, I'm good. I'm back on track.
Absolutely. I'm totally with you. Yes, clarifying, there's no actual time on DNF. I do just vibe it out. But I think I do the same thing you do. I'm like, okay, well, I do have this other thing I want to read. And then all of a sudden I like read 20 graphic novels or manga in the time that I like would have listened to, half of a book or whatever. I'm like, okay, so maybe I just need a break from that. So like playing with my format, always good. I'm also with you on the rut front.
Mhm.
I should say I had like the biggest rut of my life. It started in college because I hit myself hard with the like, you're not reading the thanks, literature major. You're not
Oh,
reading the books you're supposed to read for school. So you don't get to read the things you want to read.
wow.
So, oh yeah. So I read like 3 books a year for, from like college until maybe 2016. And then in 2017, it was like 10 books and like 18, like it slowly increased. And like over time, it was finally giving myself. Now, I did a lot of like re listening in that time, but it was giving myself permission to enjoy that time again, like get
Yeah,
back into the hobby and the love of it. So since then, I feel like I used up all my ruts
yeah,
then.
yeah,
But because I always live in fear of that, I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, I'll kick anything to the curb for a little bit. Um, there are also just, I mean, you're a mood reader as well, right?
Such a mood reader.
I was going to say, we talked about that. So, being a mood reader, I feel like there are just as much times where you're not necessarily in the mood to read as much as other times. So, there are some times where I do just embrace that. Like you said, there are great times to re listen and reread things that are favorites
Yeah.
because you may not want something new, but you still want the act of reading and listening. So
Mm,
I totally agree with that. And then there are times where I just know that, like, yeah, this is actually kind of like my dip season. This is where I'm just like,
yeah.
I know I just want one or two here and there, and that's okay. Or, I need like to catch up on my favorite podcast for a minute, and I need to just listen to their back catalog until I'm caught up.
I think you have a point about there's something comforting about the act of reading or the
Hmm.
act of being engaged with a book.
Yeah.
So that's definitely, as I think about what you're saying, what it is, where if
Yeah.
I'm feeling like, oh, reading is feeling like a chore, then I go
Yes.
back to what doesn't feel like a chore, which is my favorite book.
A thousand
And
percent.
and that definitely helps me to get out of it. And I will say though, like with running so many book clubs, there are definitely times where I'm like, I don't want to read this right now. I don't feel like reading this book.
You are brave to have 5 book clubs as a mood reader.
Misguided might be another adjective.
I'm choosing brave. M-
Thank you.
Misguided can
Thank you. I
also be
needed that.
correct, but I choose brave.
Yeah, there are definitely times where I'm like, "Oh gosh, I don't feel like it."
Why did I do all this to myself?
And that's where I think audiobooks help me out so much because I'm like,
Absolutely.
"All right, let's go. Let's power through." And then I would say most times I get to the end of the book and I'm like, "Wow, I actually did enjoy that."
That was
Every
worth
now
it.
and
Yeah.
then I'm like, "Woo, that was
Yeah.
rough."
But I also think that can be fun.
Yes.
I have a book club with my friends, and there are times where we don't always get a winner. And I kind of love that. I love when there's a time where we like are done with our hour and we didn't talk about the book at all because none of us really enjoyed it, but no one really wanted to say it. And so I'll be the one to be like, that sucked. Like, there is something cathartic about like, whew, I don't know if it just wasn't for me. And then someone else will go, no, I thought the writing felt stilted or this or that. And we're not tearing anything down. It's more just the like realization of this was for someone, it just wasn't for us.
Yeah, that's the community
Hmm.
element. That's what I love about book clubs. It's
Exactly.
like, oh, we had a shared experience with this. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I also I think with my book clubs, I've realized like, wait, I'm the queen of this situation. So we're gonna read what I want to read or what I've
Yes.
read. And that takes a
Yeah.
lot of the heat off as well with book club. It's more
Oh,
like I want to talk to people about this book. So we're reading that.
see, that's smart. What's also unlocking for me is I think why I evangelize for graphic novels and manga so hard is because to me, they have that light lift feeling that you're describing of
Mm.
I want the action of reading. I want the feel of reading. I want the coziness and the vibe of reading. But maybe I don't want to have to read a whole page of text. Maybe I don't want to have to feel the same commitment because depending on the manga and how many words are on that page, you still may, like, no matter what, you're going to finish one book in a sitting. But that one book in a sitting could be 30 minutes and it could also be several hours. So I think it's definitely got like I don't know. I think it's the thing I found that for me most imitates all of the elements of the different types of reading I do that can
Mm.
very much like just put me in a good place. Plus, I have so much nostalgia and why I read so much graphic novel manga in the summer is because that's when I was doing it. Like that was
Mhm.
summer hit. We were at the library every day and I'd be going home with the fattest stack possible, staying up late, like sleeping in and starting the cycle all over again. Like that to me screams summer. So, I know I'm young and only 32, but, but, so sometimes when I'm reading my summertime manga in bed, I fall asleep because I believe that's what they call aging. But I
Hey, at
still
least
get
you're
that
falling
feeling.
asleep in your bed.
And that's the
You'll know
truth.
you're 33 when you're falling asleep on the couch.
Oh, Destiny,
Oh,
I only make that mistake once.
rough.
If I fall asleep on the couch now, I'll be sleeping on the floor the next day to make up for it.
This is true. This is
Put me
true.
back in alignment.
Chiropractor next, please. Yeah.
Please. Okay, let me hit you with a few more quick things. I know we're
Yes.
almost out of time together, but
Mhm.
let's talk pop culture for a second.
Love that.
So, Heated Rivalry, we know it's hot. We know everyone loved it. I'm so glad it brought people to gay sports romance specifically.
Okay. Yes.
maybe it's my maybe it's my queer agenda, but like take the people to the gay books, let them see that it's fun.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Heated Rivalry?
Oh, well, first of all, this you asked for this and to be short, and it's not gonna be short.
You don't have to be sure.
Um,
Hey, my afternoon is yours.
one of my greatest author friends in the book world is Adriana Herrera, and you're like, okay,
Mm,
I already see where
mhm.
this is going.
Yeah.
From the get go, when those books first came out, was proselytizing about these books, and I trust her implicitly. So I also had a colleague at the bookstore who was obsessed with these books. So I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
all right, and I'm like, oh, I get it. So I was like,
Uh-huh.
definitely there,
Oh, yeah. When I saw
definitely.
it was coming, I was like, and everyone's gonna eat it up because
Yes.
I had already read all the books, which as not a romance
You
reader,
had read all the books?
uh-huh, that was one of those things where I was like, "Oh, gay hockey? I'll try it." And then all of a sudden I was like, "Give me more." So,
Oh, how do you
yes.
feel being an early adopter? See,
Like
here's my thing.
no one would believe me because I'm not a romance hater. I just
It's not
am
really your genre.
it's not my genre, and, like, people know what my genres are. So that I think that's it more than anything, like,
Okay.
the people
Okay.
who know what I read know that that's not my speed. So it
Okay.
was like, "Did you" I feel like my creds are being tested. Like,
No,
"Did you
it
really
shows
read
you have an
that?
open mind
Thank
and
you."
probably like, okay, well, if Joe likes it, then I should probably try it.
And
But
you
my
should.
question here is, as someone who like
Mhm.
thought the books were like popcorn, eating popcorn, right? Like
Yes.
that was the feeling of this.
Yes.
But also like I didn't build this house. How did it feel for people to come into your house? Like in the like droves and droves and droves of having loved something.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, everybody is in your house.
I
How did
I
that feel?
have weird feelings about this one
Okay.
because not only like it's not my house, but I know my way around. Like
Sure, sure, sure,
that's I
sure,
respect my position in the romance
sure,
hierarchy.
sure. But I
But
kind of think of this as a fandom, just to interject.
absolutely, absolutely. I will say, aside from that, my other thing is as a queer man,
Mhm.
that was where I had more discomfort
Mm.
than because first and foremost, I want books in people's hands. I don't care if it's in your ears. I don't care if it's physical. I don't care if it's digital. I want people to read and I want them to know that everything they read counts as reading. Like I think my mission statement is that first and foremost. So welcome. I hope you'll try other books. I
Yeah.
hope you'll get a taste for other gay sports romances. I hope you'll get a taste for the beautiful straight romances out there. I hope you will try it all and
Mm.
go from like Zero Peppers, Chaste Kiss, closed door, all the way to, oh my God, what are those supernatural wrestlers doing in the ring? And Destinee, those books are so good. Although I don't know, I said this to my boyfriend yesterday. I do not know how people go about their day with
Oh,
with their smutty romance
oh.
audiobooks in their ears. Because like I'm unbothered by it in the same way that I'm unbothered by all of my reading that I do, but I'm just like, this is weird.
I do have a confession, which is that Uh, for years, as we talked about me being a lifelong romance girly, all that stuff for years, I did not do romance audiobooks. Years. Even as an audiobook person, I was like, or I would do it, but then I'm like, "Oh, I would rather eyeball this.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
rather eyeball this."
I will say the majority of my romance reading is also eyeball it. Like
Okay.
I read a Damon Suede back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was like my first introduction into like, this is what spicy gay romance books are. And I went, whoa, it was the one with the fireman.
Oh, okay, okay,
But,
okay.
but so I was like, I can't imagine listening to this. Like the same way of like, I can't imagine listening to 50 Shades of Grey. That's for different reasons than the scenes,
Oh,
but,
yeah, different reasons indeed.
but yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
it is a weird experience. That said, like, if you love it, I love that for you. But I love to drive with the windows down when
Oh
it's
gosh.
beautiful out. And so here I am, audiobook like cranked to 34. And, I'm like, oh, it's fine when we're just like, okay, and now we're going to meet his mother in the royal Fae court. And I'm stopped at the red light and I'm on like a side street. And all of a sudden we're licking and I just like casually reach up like it's not my car that the smut's coming out of and turn the volume down.
Honestly. Yeah, I mean, like,
Uh-huh.
now I'm like,
It's
at book
different
club
now. Yeah.
yeah, 'cause I have book clubs too, and it's like,
Right.
"Child, at
Right.
2.5."
I got to get through this one.
But
Yeah.
in the car, that's a dangerous game you play. A dangerous game you play, and
Absolutely.
I have definitely been, burned by that game, where whether either, like, I was actually getting a tire change, like, going in to get a tire change. I don't even
Oh,
need to finish this story.
I have been burned by the same thing when they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll wait for my car while you do the oil change and whatever." And I've got my AirPods in and I'm sitting there and I'm listening and all of a sudden sound goes away and I go, uh-oh, my car's on.
Yo, I definitely molted in that moment. Like, the guy looked at me like, "Okay, girl, this is what
Oh
you're
yeah.
doing."
I'm
Oh,
like,
man.
well, thankfully I only listen to like ridiculous true crime podcasts while at the dealership.
There we go. Oh my gosh, true
Cut to that
crime.
old TikTok audio of her arms were cut off, her legs were cut off.
I had never felt so called out than with that. I
Truly.
I have a few more moments, and I would love
Yes,
to now we can pivot into you said pop
please.
culture kinda had our heated rivalry moment,
Yes,
but I
I'm with you on that. I don't to answer your question, I love people coming into the space. I don't love the way that some people made it feel fetishized.
ah,
I think that's the
okay.
kindest way I could put it. That's like a quick
Yes.
answer to that.
Yes, the whole
Just about
fishbowl
everyone was
element of it.
very respectful and thoughtful and just fans enjoying fandom together. But there
Yes.
were things that I saw online that made me go like, "Oh, I'm a straight woman, but I want my gay boyfriends." And I was like,
Yeah.
"And we're people." Uh, but
Got it,
yes.
got it,
Yeah,
got it. Okay, okay, that's
yeah.
this is the
Mhm.
home invasion part of it.
That's exactly. That's where I turn into the like, "This is my house,
Okay.
and you cannot be here." Yeah.
Understood,
Yeah,
understood, understood,
yeah.
noted. The last thing I do wanna talk about, since you brought it
Please.
up, is true crime.
Absolutely.
What are you do you listen to podcasts? Do you
Mhm.
read, like, nonfiction
I
true crime books?
I will occasionally listen to nonfiction books about true crime. I tend to skew more the podcast territory for it because there is such a delicate balance in the writing process. And like I vet hard on true crime podcasts because like I don't again like the same thing of like the fetishization of it all. Like I
Yes.
like there are plenty of
Yes.
beautiful people doing their makeup and telling me about like awful true crime stories online. And some of those are clearly the like with respect to all parties involved. And then there are some that are like, and you'll never believe what happened next. And so like I
Yeah.
use a lot of discernment when it comes to like personality based content. Book content as well. I think sometimes, especially with cases, it's hard to find like what angle feels like it gave you all the right facts. And I know
Mm,
what like with true crime, I think it's an impossible space. But
yeah.
I love, let's see, the two podcasts that I listen to the most in the true crime sphere are And That's Why We Drink, which is a wonderful paranormal true crime podcast. So two friends every week, one brings a paranormal story, the other brings a true crime story. And you can check out both of their books in Libby, A Haunted Road Atlas and A Haunted Road Atlas Next Stop, if you want to find your summer road trip plans. Um, shameless plug. Uh,
Through small towns.
right. Unpaid.
Oh
Just my
my
friends. I enjoy
gosh.
them. And the other is Strictly Stalking, which is a podcast that
Mm.
brings on people who share their stalking stories. Um, and while stalking to me is terrifying, I enjoy the show because it really highlights the breakdown in all and like because they'll have international guests, like the breakdown in all societies when it comes to
Mm.
stalking.
What was this
Because
called again? Say it again.
strictly stalking.
Strictly stalking. I'm
Because
literally I'm like, I
Yes.
can't even wait for
No,
your
you're
recap. I'm
good.
like, I need this now.
Because it doesn't matter where you live, what country you're in. It seems to me that like every stalking case is we can't do anything until they hurt you. So
Yes. I
yeah.
used to watch Stalked, the show,
Yes. Yep.
for that same reason of
Hmm.
exactly what you said. What were the things that made this actually preventable? And I honestly think about it from the perspective of like how you could be helpful to someone
Absolutely.
or take whatever somebody says seriously or hear something and be able to identify, oh, that's not right.
Yeah. When I think a lot of like bystander effect and all
Yes.
of that, like all of that plays
Yes.
into it for me now of I'm not missing the writing on the wall. I am aware in all situations and ready to help kind of thing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, at one point in time I would have called myself true crime obsessed.
totally.
I have to admit,
The
going
world's different
west.
for me now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is different for me. I think getting older and realizing how dark the world can actually be and being like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I don't have to actually do this all the time. I
I
don't need
don't,
to just be aware of it."
right. I don't need to be as involved as I once was. Like, because I'm right there with you. And I think that's why, like, now also in July coming out is the Black Swan murder.
Oh, yes. I
His
saw yes.
the victim's daughter,
Yes,
her book is coming out in
yes.
July. So like very interested
Saw
to
that.
check out that because I want to see how this impacted her. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna read that for
Yeah.
sure. I
Yeah.
would say Going West was my podcast.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, Daphne Wilson-Croft, uh, and oh my gosh, I forget his name. But the point is, they do a lot of missing persons on there as
Yeah.
well. And I think some optimistic part of me is like, maybe I'll see them.
Maybe
Some,
we'll
you
get
know,
and maybe we'll get an update like
I
cuz it's
know.
those were also always good when we were learning more about like missing and murdered indigenous women and like the importance
Yes,
of awareness and
yes,
like when I traveled a lot for work I downloaded the app that you like take pictures of your hotel room so it goes to the database and
yes,
like all of those. So I think there were like a lot of things that made me a better global citizen,
yes.
but right at some point
I have to dial it back.
I definitely kind of like fell off the true crime tracks because it was right the world brings us enough as it is.
Yes, yes. But I will say, I mentioned Daphne. She had a book called Night Watcher, which is a yo, that was the one of the scariest. I love a thriller, but I had to put it down because I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, I was breathing real hard. Oh, just thinking about it even now, I'm like, "Oh, I'm jumping out of my
Uh-huh.
skin." And I'm like,
So
"That's
good.
a person who can do it and really gets it." So, yeah.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And when it's the like respectful balance of all the things I've learned over the years, but still done in a way that, you know, I don't know.
You've nailed it like a podcast.
We're missing a lot of nuance lately and bring back
New?
nuance
You mean
2026.
people aren't nuanced, Joe? What are you even talking about?
Oh my God. Was that a hot take?
Oh my gosh. That is another episode. That is another
You
episode.
got it. You got it.
Yes.
Come back. Well, Destinee, thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you so much for having me. This is truly so much fun. We could do this forever.
Oh, we easily could. I'm just so happy we got to like kick back and have a fun chat. Like, oh, what a
Same,
dream.
same. No parameters, just like manga
No
and vibes.
parameters. And we're gonna do it again. And I'm gonna shut up more and let you badger me. And
Listen, I think that we got some great questions out of you, and we learned your whole sign chart. So very important
see,
things.
someone out there update the Wikipedia. I don't have a
Yeah.
Wikipedia. Please don't make one. I don't need all that. Please don't.
Joe's Wikipedia Book Lounge.
Well, y'all, thank you for listening and watching to this episode of Book Lounge by Libby. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And let me know what you think of this style of episode. My email is bookloungebyLibby@overdrive.com. Again, thank you so much for being here and happy reading. You can sample and borrow the books from today's episode in the Libby app, or if you're a librarian, find them for purchase in OverDrive Marketplace. Book Lounge by Libby is a proud Evergreen Podcast signature program. Explore more amazing shows at evergreenpodcasts.com. This podcast is produced and recorded by me, Joe Skelly, with editing by Andrew Alonso. Our theme music is High Five by Rex Banner, used with permission. Book Lounge by Libby is presented by the Libby app. Learn more at libbylife.com/booklounge.